I should tell you, the trail went dead after Romania. Our team found no records of any kind. No name. Nothing.
I think they called me 47.
That's not a name.
So make it one.
All right. Agent 47.
This is your gift and your curse. Touching lives only by ending them.
One. Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants, who have never actually consulted on a video game, bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, a.k.a. The Godfather.
I'm Christian, a.k.a. Sudoku45.
I'm Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yay, yay. And as we like to do, we like to kick things off by taking a trip over to Preston's Comment Corner. So why don't we start there?
Insert smooth jazz intro.
There you go. No comments from this past week, but I guess I could just put in my own comment here. Praise Lord Baby Jesus. Tango Gameworks was acquired by Krafton from Microsoft, or from Xbox, and Hi-Fi Rush IP and Tango Gameworks and other future endeavors will be developed by them. So
how do you
Super
feel about that, given that, like, that's the PUBG people, right?
I think so.
It is, I believe so, yeah.
Do you
I mean,
feel
it's another...
confident?
I mean, I feel more confident in them, like, not having anything and them being completely dead.
So you think
here's
that
the
they
thing.
might actually just like let Tango do what they want to do and not?
I think that you don't buy that team you don't buy that studio, but then also go and make sure that they can get as many of their employees who haven't already moved on back. Mm-hmm. You don't do that, and then buy that IP specifically. You don't do that unless you say, "Hey,
do what you do."
Do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been different if they'd have just bought the IP and then like just bought the studio name or some shit, you know what I mean? Or like but you don't try to bring over all of those employees and like keep everything the same as it was, as close as you can. I don't think you do that without having the intentions of just being like, "Hey guys, we're interested in you getting a second crack at this because quite frankly, we want the notoriety. And we know that you'll deliver it to us. Like, we want to back up, is basically what they're saying.
It's interesting. I'm interested to see, like, do they just... I don't know. I assume PUBG prints money anymore, but I don't know.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I shouldn't shake my head like that. I feel like Fortnite is basically taking over that space.
Yeah.
And that the only other player in that space is basically Warzone just because of Call of Duty.
So
and I think that...
I was just saying, so it'll be interesting then to see, like, if they just say, "Here's the freedom, make your next game the way you want it to," and that is what it is, or if they have to go out and still find the funding to help them make that game.
No, I think Krafton's going to be funding them for right now, as far as, like, we're going to let you do... Because it says more development on Hi-Fi Rush, so I don't know if that necessarily means... I mean, I'm assuming it means sequel, but also maybe just helping get it to the other platforms, everything like that, just getting it out there more across, like, widely. Mm-hmm. But who knows? I mean, it doesn't seem like a company who would buy it and then like liquidate it again. Like they're buying them to, like, I mean, they were dead. Like, people were leaving. Like, that company didn't really exist when Microsoft let them go. But Krafton says, "No, let's get you guys back. Let's hire people up again. I want you to continue this IP." Because it means enough to enough people for them to feel it was worth them buying all that. So
I just looked it up on CMDB just to see. Looks like peak numbers for PUBG.
The stock price is up 12%.
Are hovering around 700 people.
I mean, it's a very big South Korean publisher.
So yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Is that I guess I would like to see, because I actually didn't look this up.
I just looked up Crafton and I got stock price and everything like that. So
I'm looking up games here because I just wanted to see. Oh, okay. So they've also published. So yeah, I mean PUBG is I think their biggest one, but they've also been getting like smaller sort of games, like ones that they wanted to publish that I think would be considered like an indie dollar. The one I'm talking is Subnautica. Like they went after that game for.
Yeah.
So I think that actually even kind of matches in with their portfolio that they already have. Then
They actually, it's funny you say that because Subnautica just announced a sequel the other day.
Yeah.
So they must have, interesting.
Yeah, so I think that makes more sense than, I mean, a lot of their other
Trying to
stuff I
grow
don't
a
think are
little
like huge, but that's
I mean,
probably what it is.
a lot of
is
games
they're-
have the word king at the end of it, so like put it that way.
Yeah, I
Golf
think that they're
King,
just
Bowling
trying
King.
to.
Mini golf king.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to build out that portfolio and see what that looks like. And look, again, it's
They get
just one
another
of those
chance.
things where it's just nice that Tango was able to get another chance at life. I think it's unfortunate that Microsoft kept all of their other IPs because, quite frankly, I don't think that Microsoft deserved to have any of them because they're not going to do anything with them. And I don't know that they... So, Evil Within is the main one, and honestly, I don't even know... If you don't have Tango doing it, I don't know that you have anybody in your box of studios that you've just purchased that I think would do a good job with a survival horror license anyway. So unless you license that IP out to a third party, like say Capcom's wanted to do Evil Within 3 for whatever reason, and they worked with Microsoft to do it. I think that it's stupid that they decided to keep that. It's probably because Crafton, quite frankly, just probably couldn't afford that one. And if you're going to pick an IP, it'll be the most recent one with the most, recognition. So I think that makes the most sense. It's unfortunate that Evil Within basically gets to die now in the vault of things that Microsoft won't touch.
They'll release it
Yeah.
for new consoles and make more money off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to try and revive it just to see what they can do with it. No, I'm not saying they're going to do a good job, but when they inevitably have one decent game in the next year and a half, and we're still waiting for Elder Scrolls 6 and everything else, and they look around and go, well, none of these acquisitions are paying off the way we expected them to. What do we have? Oh, we have this one. Maybe
The
they'll
Blizzard
take a
one.
stab at
The
it.
problem is that this acquisition will pay for itself because they have WoW now.
Yeah.
And no matter how much WoW, we feel like is circling the drain, the problem is that if you have 5 million people that are paying $15 a month on top of an extra 15 for the classic subscription, on top of all of your Xbox Live members and stuff,
Expansions.
you're going to be just fine. It's that WoW revenue per month is going to be
It's WoW
able to
and Call of Duty. So that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
but Call of
thing.
Duty doesn't pay for it. You don't pay monthly for Call of Duty.
No, but you pay yearly for the new game.
Right, that's what
Call
I'm
of
saying
Duty
is
and
that-
battle
that- I'm
passes
saying-
and
Right, but I'm
all
saying
that.
the monthly revenue from WoW alone will sustain that
Oh,
purchase.
sure, I'm sure. We'll see.
It's just annoying that there's going to be things they just won't touch now because, or if they do try to bring it back, it'll just be a worse version of what it could have been had it been able to stay with that team.
I am excited to see Hi-Fi Rush 2 or whatever they do next. Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
so fun and charming.
Yep.
It'd be great.
Yep. Give me more. I want more. Mm-hmm. At least give me a DLC, like substantial, nice chunky boy for DLC.
Yeah.
Couple levels.
Yeah.
Yep. Super excited. Made me happy. I follow the layoffs and all the bullshit that happens in the gaming industry. It's nice to see something that is at least a little bit of hopeful, a little bit of nice.
A little bit of a W.
Take 'em when I get them. So
Cool. All right.
that's it.
Is that all you had?
I have. And if,
I'll go with my week because my week's super short. I was out of town this week. We did a lake trip with some friends. So I played nothing. I mean, I did the game we're going to talk about, and that's it. Didn't take my Steam Deck with me. We were just off the grid. So I've played nothing.
all right.
I did just a little bit more than you. I played Trails, and I won't say anything other than just go play Trails. It's good. The other thing, I'm very close to beating it. The other thing I tried was I did get a couple matches in of Deadlock.
Real quick, I wanted to ask a question. Are we allowed to talk about that?
I think I'm allowed to talk about my impressions of it.
Okay. I just didn't know if I didn't.
It is.
I scrolled past the
official
terms and
game.
conditions, so it's a closed beta. So I didn't know if there's any weird thing around that. I didn't want to get anyone else in trouble.
Yeah, it's 2 months ago. People were posting. Like, random YouTube channels have stuff up. Yeah, this will be fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I played a couple rounds of Deadlock. I honestly don't even. I won't go into it's too detailed. It's just that I think Valve is truly one of the most interesting companies in this day and age. Like, you don't see companies. It's only because Steam is so profitable and so good for them that they're able to develop games the way they do. But it's kind of fucking crazy.
As often as they do.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy that, like, you know, we know a little bit about the culture there, where it's just people show up and they just work on whatever they want to work on that day. Like, if I feel like working on Dota, I'll go work on Dota. If I feel like working on Deadlock, I'll go work on Deadlock. If I feel like working on, you know, like what ended up being Half-Life Alyx, then cool, I'll go do that, right? Like, it's kind of crazy that, like, you just show up and you're just like, what am I feeling today? And then, like, that company prints so much money that they're just like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no company operates like that, ever. Mm-hmm. And so, in this case, it was clearly a bunch of people who were like, man, what if we made a MOBA that appealed to more people? Like, that wasn't, like, as, I don't want to call it passive because the gameplay is, but, like, not as passive as Dota. Like, they had gameplay that was way more active. And they came up with Deadlock. It is literally, it's like it has heroes just like Dota does, except the gameplay here is that it's a third-person shooter. But it really, outside of it being a third-person shooter, or a first-person shooter. No, third person.
Third.
Yeah, there's some parts that can end up transferring you to first person, but that it doesn't matter. But it's kind of crazy that, like, they took that and then just said, okay, and then everything else will be the same. Like, you're basally doing the same thing that you would do in Dota. Like, you have lanes that you go down through. There's guards that, you know, you have creeps that spawn that you allow, like, that can allow you to, like, move, you know, troops and other things forward. And you have matchups, and then you go in between, like, deaths or other things. You run back to base to purchase items that buff your character up, and then take that back out, which is the same hero system that happens in Dota. It's crazy. All I can say is somebody who has tried Dota before, and I understood why people liked it a lot. It just wasn't for me. Like, that style of gameplay just didn't really speak to me that much. This was playing the few rounds of this. I was like, oh, this is why Dota is fun. Like, this is why people have over 2,000 hours into Dota, like, or more.
So then you actually enjoyed it.
I very much enjoyed my time with it. I thought that it was. I would like to get some games in with you boys and whoever else, because I think we can have a team up to 5.
Yeah.
But it's great. I really, really enjoyed it. There's so many different. Even in the beta, there's a fuck ton of characters.
There's a lot of characters
that you can join and choose from, and they all play pretty differently. And it even has the thing where if you aren't sure about what's going on, the tutorial in there that's baked in there is very good. But there becomes, like, the buying phase is what they call it in Dota, where it's like, you know, you're buying, like I was saying, you buy all these different items and buffs to, like, soup up your character. And it's very overwhelming at first. And you're looking at it and you're just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do here, or what is good for what, or anything like that. And it does the same thing that Dota does, where it's just like, hey, you can just click this button over here, recommended, and it goes just based off of, your character, the way you're playing, whatever. Here's the recommended items that we would say you should go for early, mid, and late game. That's what we would say. And so you go from there, and it just makes it simplifies that process to where you go, okay, cool. And then as you start getting used to some of those items, you go, okay, now I'm starting to see what these do. Maybe next time I can experiment with a different thing that leads more towards my play style as opposed to the character in general, right? Or
Sure.
Whatever. So it's very interesting to sit and play because it's one of those things. Now I do think that if everything about Dota turns you off, like if you had ever tried it, or League or anything like that, this game won't change you.
Still has the basics of lanes, fighting through those lanes, trying to push through to get to the end of the base. Like it's that gameplay format just in third person.
Yeah, like it's really like everything about it is still a MOBA. It's just how you are generally interacting with.
You're not clicking from above, clicking attack, clicking this attack.
You're shooting and then having attacks that can come out like and different skills and stuff. But if that part was boring to you and you liked and everything else seemed like it might have been up your alley, then there's a very solid chance that Deadlock is going to be for you. Or Deadlock.
I'm sure.
Interesting.
If I had to guess, probably going to be a free-to-play game, but there's zero information about this game outside that.
My guess is that it will probably follow the same financial structure as Dota. That would be my guess.
Unlocking characters, whatever, purchasing characters.
You can pay for characters and do all these other and pay for cosmetics and things like that. Otherwise, you just play the game and they'll rotate people out. I think that might be it for me.
Okay.
So you also did not play much.
No, well, I did play a lot. It's just been Trails.
Yeah, a lot of Trails.
I'm almost at the end of it. I just don't want to talk about it because, one, I can't talk about it, and two, there's just no reason to continue on about it.
Okay. Yeah, man, if you ever just kind of bored one night, just hit me up. I'm down for some Diablo. I got my Barbarian at level 10.
You know what? I did play. I only played one time. I played when the season dropped when I messaged you and Travis about it. But I got my sorceress to level 50 that night. So. Oh shit!
Okay.
It went fast. I only played for like 3 hours. But
I played it for like less than an hour. I got to level 10. So.
Yeah, I played for 3 hours and it got me to 50, and I was like, okay, I'll be back.
Yeah. Created my character. I wanted to play with it a little bit, see how it felt. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm continuing to fight the last final boss in 9 Souls. I've given myself a deadline for story mode. So if we get to the week of Outlaws and we start getting closer, I'm going to drop it to story mode so I can get it out of the way. I'm giving myself plenty of time. I'm trying to do around an hour most nights. As long as I'm not doing something, I've been putting in an hour. I've gotten to phase 2. And at first it was, you get to phase 2, you get wrecked. Get to phase 2, get wrecked. Like it's like an almost immediate. There's one combo move that just fucked my day up. I couldn't figure out how to do it. Now, I've decided that I can jump over most of that move if I do it perfectly. And as long as I can do that, the rest of the moves are mostly the same. So I've gotten almost halfway through the second phase. And I haven't asked Alex because I don't know if I want to cry yet. So I'm not going to ask him if there's 3 phases or more. So I'm just going to keep it to myself. I'm going to find out once I get there. And honestly, if I get to phase 3 and like I get my shit pushed in, I'm like, fuck it, story mode. We're not doing this again. No, we're not playing all through all phase 2 again. Because once I finish phase 2, I don't want to play phase 2 again after I finish it once. I'm going to tell you that right now. So we'll see how it is when we get there. But yeah, I'm waiting for once Outlaws comes out. I will be dropping it to story right before that and just finishing it up just to get the story done and call it that. Great game, just fucking hard as the final boss.
The final boss takes such a jump. It doesn't really make sense. Like everything kind of went up at like a slow incline, and they're like, "Oh, here's a phase 2," and sometimes like, "Oh, great at phase 2. The one had 3 phases, right? The like floaty dream world, and she was tough, but nothing
Now,
compares to this one.
I've got phase 1 down damn near perfectly. Like, I don't need heals. Like, I got full life at the end of phase 1. Like, I'm doing it to where it's like, I know all of your patterns. You just show me the telltale sign, and you won't do any damage. Mm-hmm. But I think I definitely got phase 1. Phase 2 is gonna take some time. Still playing a little bit of Zenless Zen Zero. Hey, that story is actually pretty fun. They do a great job with what they're doing with that. I'm just surprised that I'm actually into one of these Hoyo games. So it's been nice. Still haven't put any money into it. Haven't felt the need to put money into it. Been enjoying it. I'm seeing how like they just did like a new update for like their next like 1.1 or 1.2 or whatever it is. The new characters are coming in there. The new story they're just dropping into that as well with like this new team of characters. So I think the way they're rolling out story and like just story content is gonna probably keep me in it. As far as going like, oh, new story stuff, okay, jump in there because you play as those characters, so it's not like you're just playing your same characters over and over again. During the story, like I'm playing as all the, I want to say Billabong. What is the fucking? There's something that's kind of like Billabong, as far as the chapter 2 main group of characters. They're construction people. That's where the Big Bear, Ben the Big Bear, is at. But you play as all those characters during their story modes, and like your character, the proxy, just plays as the little rabbit thing running around with you.
And just so we're clear, by Billabong you mean the clothing company, correct?
Yes, but
that is what he said. Yes,
the name of the division or group, construction group.
I love the idea that Billabong would be a massive.
I know. I zero. I keep on saying it. I know that's not it. Factions.
Ben the Bigger?
Ben Bigger is his name. He's a very big bear. He's got a gold chain, and he does construction. Bellowbog. But, yeah, I think Billabong here for the time. But yeah, that's been good. I'm just kind of every once in a while, I'll just jump into that. It's a fun time. When I'm feeling defeated on 9 Souls, I'll go in there and feel good about myself. So, also playing more KOTOR, Star Wars Sundays. I had a little bit of a story. So, I've been joking we're going after Sith Karen. I think her name is like a show or something like that. So I go through a little bit of talking as we go into the ruins, and like I finally find her. I'm like, okay, we start talking to her. And she's like, yep, I've been calling these dogs over. I think they got the holocron. We're going to take them out, and we're going to take the holocron in. Yeah, so we do that, and she's like, well, I'm going to go take it, and I'll let them know that you helped out. I'm like, no, we're going to do this together. We're going to bring it together, get our brownie points. And she's like, no, we're not. I'm like, yeah, we fucking are. And she's like, over my dead body, so you start fighting her. You get one little chunk of health down, and you miss every hit after that. So now I'm fighting Invincible Karen. And I'm like, oh no. So I Google it real quick. Apparently the mods turn her invincible because there's a certain part of the story to where she has a battle and she's not supposed to die, so they turn her invincibility on because it's a story fight. But it doesn't get turned off when she goes out into the valley.
That sucks.
Nice.
So luckily, I was kind of doing my little bit of research while we're playing, and all you gotta do is...
Was it like a soft lock?
No, so you can actually just drag a file and put it into, I think it's like the overload file or whatever it is, and it just fixes it. So it must be like a file that was supposed to like update or like put in, just didn't get brought over to that folder. So luckily there's some like, I even said like, well, this was posted 7 years ago, so I'll see if this file's even here, and let alone if it still works. And I just dropped it in, and it worked just fine. We took her down. It was great, but yeah, I was almost worried that we made Invincible Karen, and I wouldn't be able to defeat her at all. I'm like, okay, well, either I'm about to reload side with her, and I don't want to do that because that's the whole joke is Karen's gonna fuck us over. She tried to fuck us over. We killed her, and then I went to do like two of the 4 side tombs, and luckily for me, all those have like ancient droids in there to fight, and I have destroyed droid all the way up to the 3rd level. So I'm walking in, I'm like, zap, 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 just going through. I'm like, this feels so good. I feel so cool. Just fucking taking down droids left and right. But that was a lot of fun. And then Christian said I did play a little bit of Deadlock. I went through the tutorial to kind of get the idea of it. I'm like, okay. I do like the railing system they have for the lanes, to where you can just attach yourself to the rail and it shoots you through the lanes rather than having to walk yourself all the way up it. That's nice. So I did the training, and then I had a little bit of time before D&D that night. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just get one match in. Waiting for the match to start. Gets us in the match. They're all kind of talking, saying weird fucking shit because it's the internet. And all of a sudden I see, and they don't know how to spell, even though they see my name, they don't know how to spell, but like something about Funkadelic is a bad mod. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm kind of sitting there. I'm like, we have the full group. What the fuck is going on? And then it dawns on me. I'm like, am I the group leader? Like, did they give me my first game as I'm the group leader? And I couldn't figure out how to start the fucking game. So now I'm panicking, figuring out how to start the game, and then I just get kicked out. And I'm like, oh no. That's what they meant by Funkadelic's a bad mod, is because everyone was sitting there fucking crouching and looking around, not being able to do anything. And Preston doesn't know he needs to press a start game button. Like, I didn't see a big sign that says start game or anything like that, so I didn't know.
I never had to do that, so yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I was getting shit talked to me. Like, why the fuck are they talking shit? And I tried to enter it in, but I couldn't figure out how to talk to anyone that's not your allies. So I just let it go, and then they let me go. And I played a bot match and had a little bit of fun so I could figure out what was going on. But yeah, the characters in there are pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I definitely want to get in some matches with you guys to see how it does with the group. Other than that, and the game that we played for the club, I also picked up a new game. This game is called Pepper Grinder. This is a 2D pixel art platformer, but you get a drill. So there's a lot of going into the ground, shooting up to different platforms, hitting enemies with your drill, hitting platforms or buttons or whatever if you want with your drill. It looks like kind of it has that kind of Celeste look to it as far as like the pixelation, and there's not really any story. Your character washes up on the shore via like Link style, and there's all this treasure there that you've washed up with. And then somebody comes by to steal the treasure. You wake up. You're going after to go get all the treasure. So you're getting all the gems and stuff as you're going through the game. Mario style overworld, but the nice thing is, I mean, it's a really fun game. I had a lot of good time with it. I hear it's really short. It's pretty cheap too as well. So if you like platformers and you just want something quick to pick up, perfect for Steam Deck. Tori, if you're out there, you like platformers, that's one of those Steam Deck recommendations for sure. Even the beginning like starts off and it's just like this like. The music in there is fantastic. So it starts like a house beat. It's like, and then the pepper grinder thing comes in and starts getting a little harder, and it's really good. But yeah, I like it. Check it out, the trailer, if you like any type of platforming interests you. It's definitely one to pick up, I would say. But yeah, it's like 3-4 hours long, so it's not super duper long. So if you need something for flight or something like that, they'd be perfect to pick up. Did come out this year. And then I did watch 2 things. I keep on forgetting to mention that I'm watching this Suicide Squad Isekai. It's a HBO Max anime. Mm-hmm. And it's not bad. Animation's obviously really good. Story is pretty fun. But for some reason, Max, like episode 4 made me listen to like the English dub. And that was fucking horrible. Like, I remember like trying it out for the first episode. I'm like, oh, let's see. Like, no, I'm not a big fan of like the way Joker and Harley are sounding. So I'm like, let's just go ahead and turn it to Japanese. And Japanese voice acting is phenomenal. And then for episode 4, for some reason, I couldn't change it over to the Japanese voice dub. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just have to watch it like this way. I'm like, man, this is fucking rough. But the outro to that is phenomenal. What's the lady's name who heads up the Suicide Squad?
Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller. They have her doing like dances and shit in the outro. That's just fucking great. I mean, she's not a goofy character in the show, but it does the pure anime thing of everyone, no matter what the character is, they're dancing at the very end of the outro. It's a good time. So yeah, if you like Suicide Squad, DC stuff, and you're into anime, 100% recommended.
Nice.
Then I watched, because we're in the mood, I watched Timothy Oliphant's Hitman. It's a quick watch, about an hour and a half long, so it wasn't as bad since it wasn't too long. It's a fine action movie. Like, if you're there just to see action, it's fine. You got some action, and they have the Russian girl that follows him around, whose tits are out the entire movie for the most part. So it's overall enjoyable movie. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. You get to see some action out of it, you get to see some titties out of it. Who cares? It's everyone's having a good time, right? Definitely would not recommend watching it. I mean, if it's free somewhere and you got that wild hair, go after it. But it's
No.
It's not worth a
No,
purchase
just
at all.
do anything else with your time.
You need some
No.
background noise, that's fine. It's fine.
No. God, play some fucking music.
But they got a lot of big names in there. One of the guys, really bad Russian accent. If you've watched Lost, and I can't remember the dude's name, but he had kind of like your length hair, Alex, a little bit longer. I don't remember his name. I think he had a British accent then, but he was kind of a douche. He pops up and he just has this really thick, horrible Russian accent, which I thought was funny as hell. But yeah, other than that, it's been my week. I don't think I got anything else to talk about. So if you want, we can get in that video game book club.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Comic Headquarters. If you are looking for a trade paperback or hardcover, the guys over at Comic Headquarters can help. Even if they don't have what you're looking for, they'll offer to order it in for you. Visit comichqstl.com today, where you can contact them and order that trade paperback or hardcover that you've been looking for. Or give them a call at 314-433-5449. Let them know that the testing room sent you, and you can get 10% off your order. So, Video Game Book Club Hitman Part 2. We'll be covering Sapienza and Marrakesh. So, Sapienza starts out, we are going after two people who are involved with creating a virus, like an assassination virus. So it's a virus that you can like program to actual genetic material, DNA, so it can spread, not kill people, and then will kill the person. Like, it'll go after kill a person with that gene. Obviously, they're still working on it, but with this one, it starts out in Sapienza to where this one is a little more open. So we had the Paris one to where it's pretty much just the house. You get to walk around outside of it a little bit. But this is like a small town like you got right here. So, Alex, these next two levels, like when you mentioned like how like surprised you were by the NPC count, like especially when we get to Marrakesh, like the NPC count is elevated. Like I'm surprised they got that much in it. I've never been into a level like that, and we'll talk about when we get to Marrakesh, to where like a marketplace just has that many people and actually feels as full and like as busy as an actual like street marketplace. So it's nice to see like the world building they're doing, and I just think that they do a phenomenal job with these levels. They've been fantastic. So we are going to start off Sapienza, a case most particular, and let's see, that's the first mission I start off. So we're going after, Silvio Caruso, which is a bioengineer, and Francesca DeSantis, who is also working on the virus. You're supposed to take both of them down and destroy the virus, essentially, kind of mentioning that she's like, hey, this is our competition. If this thing gets made and it gets out there in the world, it's like, this is going to be what, ruins your job, essentially. They chicked her derbs. So what I did for some of these now is I'm kind of choosing either mission stories to go with, or I'm even going through challenges and clicking on them. There's one or two of them that I kind of like, okay, I want to know how to do this, so I looked up the YouTube to find it, because I wasn't going to sit there and try to figure it out for fucking 45 minutes. But I went through like the case most particular. I overheard some hairstylists talking about that they have a cousin who's a detective. So you go to find the cousin detective, and the dude is just fucking sleeping on the bench in Sapienza. So I end up do it a couple different ways. You can probably throw something if you want to, but there's a little radio next to him, so I just turn on the radio real quick. He wakes up, gets on the phone. He's talking to Francesca, and he's like, yeah, we're going to meet up. He's like, we can talk about that one thing we're talking about. So meet me back at the pier. I've been a little busy. So I follow him a little bit, just kind of like, okay, get him close to an alley, get him like somewhere where not a lot of people are at, like just see if we can get there. I found this like little, like, not bridge, but like underpass somewhere, to where obviously there's a little kind of trash can I can dump him in right there for me. And it took me a couple tries to like knock him out, not have anyone see me, put him in there, not have anyone see me, take his clothes and not have anyone see me. At about the fifth or sixth try, I finally did it, but there's usually someone in a corner somewhere that I don't like really fully recognize. And one time I got him in the trash can and I go to get his outfit and then someone sees me. I'm like, hey, wait, you. And they start chasing off. I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm just kind of running away. And the dude is like following me through the city, like talking to other people, be like, yo, I need your help. They're just really shady fucking looking dude. He just did some weird shit. Like, and then after a while, like you just look at that hunted section like on your map. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to have to deal with this the entire fucking game. So let's load it back, finally got to a point where I think I even end up like throwing a wrench to distract one person so I can take down that dude. Met her out on the pier, and I was trying to figure out, because she comes with 2 guards, and they come under this, like, not a cave, but like a very, like, under the city kind of area. And there's obviously 2 trash cans there, but there's 2 guards and her. So I tried to distract one guard by turning on a faucet in the bathroom and overfilling it. So that distracts him for a little bit. And then her and the other guard are going down. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to get this other guard? Anytime I try to get the other guard ends up showing up by the time I get him to the trash can. So I finally went, fuck it, let's see where this conversation goes. Of course, after spending like 15, 20 minutes, we go to talk to her, and she's like, let's talk privately. I'm like, I could have just fucking done this earlier. So now anytime I'm going to meet with somebody, I'm like, let's just see how it rolls out. If it doesn't roll out well, and she like just says, okay, we're done here, and then walks away, then we'll reload the save and figure it out. But a lot of times I'm noticing that they will want to speak to you privately if you're impersonating somebody that they want to talk to. So they actually face the opposite direction in that like undercity section, and we just go to there talking like, cool, bye, snap neck, put in the trash can, like, cool, got her. And then I went back to the story section, and I found, which one was it? Beyond the Grave. No, I'm sorry, Absolution. So this one, you go to the chapel at church, and there's a scientist who is like doing confession. Talks about, hey, one of my peers just died. It's this really horrible thing. We're working on this, and then end up killing him. It's our work. I feel really bad, but like no one's going to visit him, so I think I'm gonna go visit him. Blah blah blah. And that when it pops up a notification to where like, oh hey, this dude is in the morgue. You can get yourself, a nice, scientist suit there, little lab coat there. So I go there, and she's talking about she's coming by to, visit the body. So I'm like, okay, well, over the intercom, Diana's like, oh, we can get 2 birds with 1 stone here. I'm like, okay, all right. So I get to the morgue where he's sitting, steal his clothes, and then there's another like little bed next to it on the other side of the wall, and you can just play dead, literally just play dead there. So like I'm laying there using my radar vision to kind of waiting for her to just slowly take her ass all the way to the fucking morgue. And she gets there, and she's like, I want some time alone. The guard's like, okay. I'm like, that's right. So he walks out, and as soon as like he closes the door and she starts like sobbing a little bit, I'm like, I'm sorry. Choke her out, toss her in the trash can. I don't kill her. She's unconscious. But I do take...
You have... Okay.
So this is not Francesca.
Not the main.
Francesca's already dead. Yeah, this is just some random other scientist that's in there. Yeah. Not only do they have the key card,
I'm not going to judge you. We'll talk about it because I also accidentally killed some people in this one that I didn't mean to. So,
and then so I get the key card, but not only do I get a key card, but I get a dongle, like a USB dongle. So after that point, it's like, okay, now we got access. We can get into the lab because we got that with the key card. We got our little outfit on. So I'm going, and it's this cool like little.
And you still haven't killed the main dude, right?
Not the main dude, but I killed the second person, the little lady, the scientist lady who's creating it. So I killed her. I haven't killed the main dude yet. They have you go to the lab, and the way I got to the lab was like right in the same part I killed her with that little like under section near the pier. There's like you go a little bit on the outside of there, and it's like this little door on the side of the wall. So you go into the secret lab that way. And as I go in there, I'm kind of looking around, and I see that section in the back there. And I know there's an achievement or a challenge you can get to like, get inside there with like hazmat suit and shit. But I got that USB dongle, so I'm looking around, and I noticed a computer up at the top of this, like the first, like, it's not a building, but it's like, this like little lab section. And that's where you put the dongle in. So there's one dude up there who will recognize that you're not an actual lab person. But he's like...
You bonked him up?
I didn't have to. He's like, there's a computer right here. He's standing right there looking off towards like the lab thing. And like, I'm like standing right next to him, just like insert dongle, destroy the virus, walk away. And because like he's not facing me, he doesn't notice me, walk up to the computer, insert the thing, destroy the virus, and then walk away.
Sure.
So like that was like super easy peasy for him. Like, okay, sweet. Feeling pretty fucking good right now. And from there, you can get into the house, like so the family house for the Caruso family house. So I get into there. I kind of look up my challenges in the story, and there's the one that is Beyond the Grave, which I thought sounded fun, to where it's like, hey, Silvio's been having some like some mental issues here, and like an event happened recently to where like he swore that his mother was like calling out to his dead mother was calling out to him. He heard the record player go off, he heard the stair lift go up, and then he heard the sick bell, and he could have swore that his mother was there. I'm like, okay, I see how this is gonna play out. So let's get in. As soon as like you come from the lab up to the house, there's like a laundry center right there, and there is a house keeper's outfit there. It's like, oh shit, super nice. Just grab that real quick, go inside, turn on the record player. He comes inside, he's like, oh shit, the record player's on. I'm like, all right, run over real quick, hit the button on the stair lift. He's like, oh, the chair's going. I'm like, yeah, sure it is. Keep on running up there, and you hit the bell. And then he's outside talking about it. He's like, I know it's her. She's calling out to me. She's going to do it. She's here. And the guy's like, okay. And he's like, I just want some time alone. I'm like, all right. That's the key word I'm looking for every time I play this game is I want some time alone, or I want to be able to have this secret conversation. So he comes inside, and then I open the door because he's like going towards the bed. And before I even, like, as I'm opening the door, he's like, you guys, I fucking knew it. He was pissed because apparently, I looked this up later, you're also supposed to turn the fan on to have the chair go back and forth. And if you don't do that, he automatically suspects something. So I took him down. One of the guards came in. I took down one of the guards as well. And then I just booked it. And I was hunted the entire time trying to escape Sapienza. So I'm like, I just finished up. Like, I could go back and load the save, but the save was kind of all the way down there at the lab. I'm like, do I really need to? I'm like, nah, I don't need to. We'll be fine. So I finally make it out. I really wanted to go into the lab to escape, though, because they had a sweet boat plane down there. But everyone down there wanted my shit.
Well,
so
don't worry about it. I can tell you about that one.
Okay, fair enough. All right. But yeah, that's how I ended up with finishing Sapienza. There's a cutscene after that, but I'll let you guys talk about.
Let me go next, Christian, because mine wasn't too far off for what Preston did.
Man, was way different.
Yeah, so I came in. We started the game of dress up. So I walk upstairs and I see a cook outside and knock out a cook. I put on his clothes. I go downstairs, knock out a security guard, then make my way inside the house, get like the upper level security guard, which is just like the dudes in the tank tops and the guns. I'm walking around the back and I'm like, all right, I see her walking around. Let's follow her path a little bit. And as I'm walking, I see a window. So I'm like, oh, what's this? So I jump in the window. There's a guy looking at all the security cameras. So I just knock him out really quick. I'm like, perfect. We're getting pretty good. I go, you know what? The last playthrough, I did a really bad job at picking up and holding on to things, right? Like wrenches and screwdrivers. Like I didn't pick anything. Well, I just didn't pick anything up. I was like, so let's pick some stuff up and have some fun this time. So I pick up a screwdriver, hop out the window. I see her coming. I'm like, oh, shit. But I also see on the ground where there is a power outlet and a water hose. And I'm like, wonderful. Nice. So I run over really quick. I turn on the fan. I run over to the power outlet, jam like the screwdriver, do something with the screwdriver to that, and then turn on the water hose. And I can walk up the stairs to this like attic door. Mm-hmm. But there's security everywhere. So I just stand there like I'm security. And I watch her walk through and she steps in that puddle and electrocutes herself. And I'm like, yes, like this is what I wanted, right? Like this, wonderful. So she electrocutes herself. She falls over. The guys come over. They look around. Oh my gosh, what happened? Looks like an accident. Let's just put her in a body bag and drag her away. And I'm like, awesome. So I make my way from there. Eventually, I make it downstairs, right, where you have to get to the underground cavern.
Lab.
And the lab. And by this point, I am still a security guard, so it's still pretty free reign. But now, like, the security guard's amped up. So I knock out the one dude along the top to dress up as him. And then nobody sees me just, like, I guess, shimmy down this, like, rock face and pole. Like, it's no big deal. So now I'm just, like, free walking around. I'm like, cool. I get all the way to the back where I figured out the stuff is. But I'm outside of it. With the virus. I'm outside of it. And there's 2 security guards and a doctor. And I'm like, shit, okay, I want to get the doctor's clothes so I can get inside there. But I'm not sure how to do this. So I throw a coin, and one of the security guards goes walking by, and I take him out behind the crates. I'm like, sweet. So I go to dump him in a crate. As soon as I throw him in, I hear the sizzling, and it goes, whatever, like, innocent person or non-target killed. I'm like, oh, that's acid. My bad.
There's an acid vat?
There was an acid vat. Okay. And I was like, my bad, but also, like, that's where the next two dudes are going, too.
Yeah.
So threw them in the acid vat, took a couple of point deductions, put on the doctor suit. And here's the thing. So I walk around the back, and, like, this is a really convoluted way, because I'm just trying to figure out, like, how am I going to get in here? Because I don't have a key card or whatever. So I walk around the back, and I see a fire alarm. I'm like, okay, let's just pull it, save it, pull it, see what happens. So I save it, I pull it, and everybody starts running. And as I keep walking to the right to figure out, like, where am I going to go in this chaos, the door goes zzz, and all the guys in hazmat suits come running out. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So I just, like, duck my head in,
Empty room.
go inside, put on the hazmat suit, go in there and destroy it, and then walk out like it was nobody's business. And it was so good. And I just walked. When I came out, I changed back to the security guard outfit, and everybody's on high alert. And I'm walking around, and finally somebody sees me right before I get to the boat. And they're like, hey, he's over here. And, like, gets one shot off, and I hit exit. And I just fly off, and I'm like,
How'd you kill Sylvia?
Yeah. How'd you kill the dude? Because you got her with the electric water.
Sorry. Silvio, right before that, was exactly how you said. So I was in his room. I got the note, so I went downstairs. I turned on the gramophone.
Medical papers or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They give you a lot of leeway for that. So, like, when he's in the courtyard, I turn on the gramophone, and he comes running. I'm like, cool. So the next thing is, like, hits the power chair. And I'm upstairs when I see his, like, little red icon in the living room or whatever, in the kitchen. And I hit the power chair, and he still comes running. And I'm like, well, shit, he's going to come all the way in. So then I hit the bell while he was, like, at the stairs, and he came all the way upstairs. And I'm like, cool. And I turned on the fan, and that was that.
I completely
And as soon
forgot
as
that fan. Apparently, he does not believe that shit if the fan's not moving the chair. But it's fine. I took care of it.
Yeah, so it was the same way. But it felt... Because I got him with that one, and I got her with the electrocution, like, in the last moment. Like, oh, I don't know what to do, and that was pretty cool. And, like, the way I took out the virus is like, this is how this game should feel. Like,
Yeah.
it feels good.
Yeah. Stumbling upon
The,
kills,
the,
yeah,
ne-
it's
the
nice.
next level is a little different, but this is the way
Sure,
that the game,
sure.
the game
Man,
should feel.
okay, yeah. So my way was way different. So I walk up and I'm just looking around, and I'm just still doing the same thing I do this game, where if I just walk around and then just wherever my heart takes me, I just follow that line, and then if something new happens along the way, then something new happens along the way. So I walk up, and kind of like Alex, there's a cook there's a waiter arguing with her brother about.
I almost started that one. Yeah.
Wanting to be, whatever. So I was like, okay, sweet. So I walk up, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to take this guy's cook uniform and then go in this way, and I'll just, see what happens. So I run up the apartment steps. I start ringing his doorbell. I ring it like 6 times, and I can hear him, because he's taking too long to come to the door. So I'm ringing it, and he's like, fucking, can you give me a second? Before he could finish his statements, I'm like, bonk, punch him, and then knock him out, leave him in his apartment, take his uniform, and then leave. I
did get that guy too, and it is funny if you stand there and look at him, he's just like, well, "What are you doing?" I started to walk towards him. He's like, "Whoa!" I mean, most people don't like just when you're walking in their room, and he's just like slowly backing up, and I just punch him. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Bonk, see you later," knock him out. I wish that like this game would do like the old cartoonist sound effect, like if you knock somebody out, it's like bonk. Like I would.
I'm sure there's a mod out there somewhere. Yeah.
But yeah, so I get his thing. I go through the kitchen, go talk to the guy, and he's like, "Hey, Silvio's trying to." Oh, and on my way in, I had already picked up rat poison, and so then he's like, "Hey, Silvio's waiting for his lunch. I've been trying to make this sauce for his mother's spaghetti. Maybe you can figure it out because I haven't been having good luck with the sauce." Blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, so I'm sitting there stirring. I'm like looking around, waiting for a second. So like, clearly, I'm going to dump rat poison in this thing. So I'm like looking, and he's not giving me a second. And so I'm like,
clearly he's going to get rat poisoned.
Yeah, clearly. And so I'm like, it's this guy's taking like this. The cook is just sitting there watching me basically, and I'm like, this is annoying. So I stop the sauce. I walk over and I turn off the radio because I can see like when the little assassin vision that it's highlighted. I turn off his music, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" So he starts walking over to his thing, and I'm like, "Oh, well, now this is when I can do it." I put the rat poison in. He comes back after turning his music back on. I, press ding, dinner's ready, and then I just walk outside and follow him. He gives the plate to Silvio, and Silvio starts to eat it, and he's like, not only is this not my mother's spaghetti, but this is like the worst thing I've ever eaten in my fucking life, and I hate it. No, I don't want this. And he like shoves it away. I was like, oh damn, well I don't know if he actually got enough to like feel sick then, since he literally just took a bite. Like I was like, I don't know if that'll work. But I see him start to, and he's like, I don't feel so good. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, we're good. So I start following him through the little building because no one stops me so far because I'm just a cook. So I'm like, good. And then I see where he's sitting and he's like holding over himself, like, over a ledge. He's like throwing up. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to figure out a way to get out there. So I hop out this window and I just look to my right and I see him right there and he's just throwing up. And then I walk up behind him and it's like, I can either choke him out or just give him a little push. And so I was like, okay, bye. And I just shoved him and he falls like down the side of a cliff, slams down. And then all the people below are like, what the fuck? And then I just walk in. So I walk back in the building. I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to get to old girl next. Because like you guys did this in such a different order than me. So like I thought about saving the virus for last. So I was like, all right, let me figure out how to get to old girl. So I'm like, I'm trying to make my way through, and I get into her room.
Okay.
And when I get into her room, I find like a note on there that's like, we'll be meeting up with private golf instructor after Silvio gets done taking his lesson, something. And I'm like, okay. So then it comes up and it's like, hey, maybe you could try dressing up as the golf instructor and like, faking, like pretend to be him or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So then I walk back out in the yard and I see the golf instructor, and he's basically he's on his phone and he's like talking to Silvio, and he's like, look, as soon as I get done with Silvio's golf lesson, when he lets me out, you and me will hit each other up, have some sexy times, and then, you can go back to doing whatever you got to do. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do this then. So I'll totally, if I get her to come to me and I don't even have to traipse my way all over to that side of the mansion or complex, that makes this even easier. So I fuck up the camera that's overlooking this little like garden area that's sitting there, and I headshot the guard and then take his clothes and dump him in like a little like box that's in this, I don't know, that same room that you guys are talking about with all the like the computer screen with all the cameras, and there's like like an assassin or like a plague doctor outfit, like with some knives and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
There's a chest in there, so I was like, okay, cool. I'll shove him in that one. And now that the camera's gone, they can't see me about what I'm about to do to this golf instructor. So he comes back out and he's like standing over there, like having a cigarette or talking on his phone or some shit. Or bonk, knock him out, dress up as a golf instructor, take his phone, drag him into the bushes, and then leave. I go into the room, give her a call. She comes in. And she's basically like, goes on this long like speech about, I had to set the mood in the room, so like I turn the music on, turn the fireplace on, like do this whole thing, right? I'm sitting in a chair waiting for her. She comes in, no guard, like obviously her guards wait outside, and she comes in. She's basically like, look, I just want you to know I'm really into this. This relationship has been working for me, but I'm here as a double agent. Like, I'm here to assist Silvio with this virus, but also I work for a different company. They want to get their hands on this information too.
So you got all the tea.
Did she say which company?
She did, but I'm blanking on it now.
Does it start with a P?
Maybe. I'm not
Providence?
sure.
Okay.
No, because I know because that's the company that comes in later. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just curious
if it has to do with that. I can't remember, but she says that she's working for a company. She's double agent. She's like, so I just want to let you know what you're getting into. Like, it's going to get very dangerous for me as time goes on if anybody finds out that I'm, double dipping over here, basically. And so then she's like, so yeah, I just, before we proceed with tonight's activities, I just wanted you to know that, I guess. And then I stand up and I'm like, neat, bang, shoot her right in the head. I grab her key card, so that lets me get everywhere that I need to get inside the facility later. But I shove her in a closet. Even though there's a giant blood puddle on the ground, so I'm sure anybody could put two and two together, but it never happens. But I push her in a closet, I leave, and then now what I've triggered is 2 guards walk around going, what's her name? It's Francesca something. What's her last name?
DeSantis.
So now I have 2 people who are now permanently patrolling the entire place going, Mr. Santos? Mr. Santos?
Searching.
There's over and over and over again, which was really funny because there was a couple times where I'd be wanting to do something, and then I see some dork coming through going like, Mr. Santos? I'm like, God, bro, she's gone. Hang it up.
Stop looking.
But, so I make my way down, and I'm like, all right, let's figure out how to get to this virus thing. I get down, and I have been picking up everything. So I've got a wrench, multiple different knives, I've got like all these different guns, everything on me. I find one of the scientists who's trying to get himself fired because he realizes that he's working on basically a doomsday virus.
Sure.
So he's getting drunk with a security guard, and he's just like, I want to get fired for negligence. Like if I quit, they'll kill me, and if I do something stupid, they'll kill me. But if I if I just get fired for being bad at my job, then I get to go home, and I don't have to worry about working on this shit anymore. Blah blah blah.
That's how it works.
I love how you're just that guy's just like, man, I don't want to die, but like, fuck this job. Like, if I could just get fired for being inept, that's the ultimate goal.
And I'm like, buddy, I'm here,
and I'm not quitting. They have to pay me severance.
Yeah, and I'm like, buddy, let me help you here, because I can get you fired for being inept. You'll be naked when everybody finds you. And so he goes away to pee in a corner of a room, by the way. What a disgusting human being. So I really didn't feel bad about this. But the guard that he's sitting there drinking with is like, it's hidden by a pillar. So I'm like, bonk, knock him out, drag him to a little container, take his scientist clothes, and I start walking. So I save, and I'm like, all right, cool, everything's good. So I start walking towards the door where I can use the badge to get in. Mm-hmm. And it was, the security guard's like, all right, man, we just got to frisk you. Just let you know, everything's good. And I was like, okay, right on, sign up to get frisked. And then they're like, yo, what the fuck? And they find like all the guns and knives on me. I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm like, let me reload really quick. So I reload, drop all that shit in a corner, then go get frisked. I'm good to go. I walk through. I then ditch my scientist outfit, which I shouldn't have done, but I did because I was like, "There's a security guard here. I need to get past." So, I looked over the ledge at first, and it was like everybody who's a scientist, almost everybody down there will recognize that you're not a scientist, except for security guards. I was like, okay, well, let me just take a security guard outfit then. So I bonk a security guard, take him out, put his clothes on. Make my way down there, and it's like, now none of the scientists will recognize you, but every single security guard, well, not every single, but most of them will know that you're not a security guard. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, all right. So then I get up, and I'm like, well, I need to get into the room that connects to the virus thing. I was like, and I gotta be a scientist to get in that door, so I just gotta wait for the patrols and then be a scientist and go in. Like, all right. So I go up the stairs and find that one scientist, the person that you were talking about, that's just by himself. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, even though I just did this, but I'm already down here, so I'm like, fuck this. Bonk, take his scientist thing, leave my security guard outfit up there, push him in the chest. I do see the computer that says, like, use dongle, but it says I don't have it, so I was like, whatever, I don't care. Yeah. So I walk down, make my way in, and then I get to switch into a hazmat suit, and then I'm in the hazmat suit, and it's like, okay, now no one cares because they can't see you because of the face shield. I'm like, sweet. There's 2 guys that are working on the virus this entire time, and I'm like, all right, how do I get... Now, this is where I really wish that I could have, like, turned on, like the Metal Gear Solid music, like...
Oh, sure.
Because I was really just, like, I'm just pressing shit and, like, making things pop off. So, there's extra rat poison in there as you're walking in, and... Or no, I think you don't actually need rat... I think you can just mess with them, but either way... There's a guy who comes in and out, and there's the 2 guys that are always in there. So I cross paths with the guy who's on his way out, and I'm like, okay, I clearly will have a little bit of time before he gets back. So I go in. First thing I do is fuck with the rats over in one corner and this was sad, but you kill them all. Like you feed them poison, and then
way to go.
One of the guys is like, what the fuck is going on with our test subjects over here? So he comes running away. Then there's a computer that you can mess with to like make some sort of alert or something pop up, and the other one leaves. So they're both dealing with that distraction. Like, and so then I walk up, I put the heat up on the virus so that it starts to like raise the heat in the room and then kill it. I'm like, okay, sweet, and it's like great work, 47. I'm like, okay, but it still shows that the virus hasn't really been dealt with. But I was like, all right, I guess I'll just start making my way out. So by the time I get down to the hallway, the virus explodes and there's nothing, and everybody freaks out. Like, all right, and I just am in my hazmat suit. Nobody's the wiser. I just walk right over to the plane and phew, I leave. And I was like, damn, man. I was like, I really just like, this could not have worked out better.
It's pretty
like,
smooth. Yeah.
See you later, everybody. Like, no one was upset at me whatsoever. So, yeah, I left and then moved right on to Marrakesh.
All right. Well, as soon as we finish that one up, we get a little cutscene in Johannesburg. Essentially,
That's why I thought this was Johannesburg.
Well, yeah.
The cutscene.
I was looking back like, oh, that's why he thought that.
Yep.
All right. So essentially, this is a like parking garage. Guy gets into his car, and the mysterious gentleman we saw in the first cutscene, he is in the back of it. Essentially, tells him to give him the key. The guy in the car says that I forget who else it is, but Cobb. Cobb's got the other key. You're not gonna be able to do anything with that. And he's like, oh yeah, Cobb said the same thing, which to me meant that he already has that other key. He ends up killing that dude, and that's when it just cuts to our new mission, which, like you mentioned, is in Marrakesh. We are going after Klaus Stromberg. He's got a little bit of a background to him, essentially escaped arrest, and ended up killing a bunch of innocent people by escaping. And so he's held up in the, I think it's the Swedish consulate. There's a big protest going on outside of there. There's also a big military figure. I forget, he's a general. I forget what his military ranking is. But essentially, you're going to take him down because he's trying to do a coup out there. So your objective is take down both these dudes and get out. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the amount of NPCs and the way the interactions are happening are like pretty much blowing my mind at this point. You get all the different types of dialogue that are happening between different NPCs. They're actually there. You're not just phasing through them as you walk. Even with the protesting or when you get the marketplace, like these levels are full. And
they've done an incredible job.
It's amazing.
And like
really good.
I watched, the only time I noticed this was in the cutscene in Marrakesh, where it's talking about the rioters or the activists, right? There's one part where if you just kind of like unfocus your eyes in that cutscene, you can kind of see like 2 or 3 people doing like the same animation.
Yeah, sure.
But when you get into the game, like I didn't notice that. It didn't stick out to me, right? Like even if I just sat there and looked, like they actually gave a pretty good AI and like let people go. It's really well done.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're going in there. You got to take them down. I go through my little story missions. I see one called the Golden Touch. This is where you get to play masseuse. So you got to get into the consulate office. So as you're going up there, there's the big. It's not a riot. The big protest is happening outside. And go to the right side, there's no way to get in. There's like a door there, but I don't have any keys or key cards for it. Go on the left side, some dude is complaining about this other dude's parking job. But on that wall, the barbed wire is down. So you can vault over that section. And there's only one guard over there now. There's a guard that will walk back and forth, so you just got to make sure to time it just right. But I just, tossed a coin, the good old Witcher way, and then you just have him chase after that coin, you knock him out. Behind the fence in front of a whole bunch of people protesting and no one sees it. So you move him over and you take his security guard outfit. As you go inside the main door of the consulate, there's a front desk there. And what you're supposed to look at is essentially the schedule for Klaus. And you see that he has a massage appointment scheduled here pretty soon. And the dude is actually in the building. So I go... And this one took me a couple tries. I'll explain here in a little bit as to why. But dude's on the phone. He's complaining about something. he's always mentions like, man, I really want a cigarette. Like, no, I'm better than that. I control it. The cigarette doesn't control me. And what I should have done, I should have probably waited for him to finally go have a fucking cigarette, but I didn't. Because I'm not sure where he's going to have that, and apparently I'm impatient with this game, so I'm like, okay, well, there's him, there's a guard over there, sitting next to the door. You can't get behind the guard to subdue him, so I end up just fighting him. So I end up like just taking a couple swings at him. You can knock him down, but he is not unconscious when you knock him down the first time. I didn't know this.
You have to press a knockout button later.
I didn't notice this a couple times. So like I'm going over trying to take out the masseuse, and the guy's like, "Yeah, oh, God, put your hands up." You know, I'm like, "What the fuck? Where's this guy coming from?" Like, oh, it's the same dude. Okay. I finally take him out, and properly.
Did we all do the masseuse, by the way, for this part?
Did we? Okay.
Okay, I did, so I'll go next.
Right.
I can skip that part then.
So, took down the masseuse.
I'm actually really jealous you guys did the masseuse. I didn't know that was an option.
So, take down the guard. The masseuse obviously hears me having fucking fisticuffs with this guard over here. So, like, I run over there real quick to him, knock him the fuck out, put him in the closet. As I'm putting him in the closet, this other dude starts walking in. He goes, "Huh? Oh my God, a guard's down." And, like, I'm just, like, pushing past him. I'm like, no, get me out of here. I want to go. And I just walk past them, and they're like, hey, you. As I'm walking away, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, just keep walking. Just play it cool, brother. Just play it cool. He's not talking to me. Don't worry about it. He didn't chase after me this time, because he didn't actually think it was me, because I'm already in the masseuse's outfit. He didn't see me changing the masseuse's outfit. He didn't see me, like, mess with anybody, but I was around when this happened, and he did see me for a second. But I was able to keep just kind of walking past him, get past it, and go up to the front desk, tell the front desk lady that, hey, I'm here to give Klaus his massage. So she's like, okay. Tells him to go up, and then you can hear on the intercom, hey, Klaus, go to the massage room. Your appointment's here. The guy in the stairwell is wanting to frisk you. And
yeah, he is.
I'm like, I still have my gun on me. I don't know if I want to use it later. I'm like, well, I'll just stand on the bottom of the stairwell, toss a coin over there. And I guess the pay is so shitty over there that, a coin is worth it to like just let somebody walk past you as you're going to pick up a coin. So I just walked right past him after he was going. I was like, oh, jackpot. And then I just walked right past him. Going to the massage area, Klaus shows up. He's like, oh man, you kill a couple people. People get really mad at you. He's like, people wanting to kill you is pretty stressful. So you just go there, give him a little massage a little bit, and then it gives you the option to snap his neck while you're having a massage. I let him talk.
He goes
for a little
on and
bit
on about the economy and other bullshit.
I give him, I got him to the point where he's just kind of laughing about how people want to kill him. I'm like, oh yeah, really? And I snap his neck.
Yeah, I waited for him. He was like, let me give you a piece of advice because you seem great. This one's free, and I was like, oh yeah. I already know
and so is this one.
Goodbye, snap.
So yeah, I take him out, and then we have to now go after. I'm assuming it's the general. Yeah, general. So I started one that was called Open Sesame. That kind of got me to the area to where he was at, which is a school. Open Sesame starts you off. You go into one of the streets. Someone is outside talking to a shopkeeper about their father who's upstairs. He actually used to be like an old headmaster at the school, so he has the skeleton key for the school that opens any door you want in the school. So I just sneak past real quick, knock Pop out, take his key, walk out of there, knock the storekeeper out. Yeah.
Knock.
Night, pop
out.
So I knock him out, take his key. He's got a nice little outfit, so I kind of take that too for a little bit because it's got the nice little brimmed hat and everything. And we get towards. I start heading towards the school, but the school's like on lockdown. There's like armed guards that will just not let anybody through. I even took down and got into like an army outfit from someone just like patrolling the area because I found he's like in a nice little spot. You have to have one of those like guards with like the bulletproof vest on and everything like that to get past them. So found one of those areas to where there was not always two guards. One of the guards was walking back and forth, and the one was kind of standing there. So tossed him the coin over there next to the telephones, and he walked over there, knocked him out, took his suit, strolled right in, had the key to get in everywhere, and I'm going in there and kind of just investigating the area now. I noticed there's two guys in like a little schoolroom, and there is a hole up in the top. And I'm using my detective vision to kind of see these out. Like you can pick up like a toy tank and stuff like that that's in there. But I see a toilet. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Let me check the challenges real quick. I'm like, oh, there's a challenge to kill somebody with a toilet. I'm like, that's the one I want to do. Let's figure out how to do this. So while those two dudes are talking, there is an school intercom system right next to them. Turn that on. They're talking shit on the general. So that gets broadcasted to the entire school. So the general's like, this fucking guy. So he's like walking from the other side of the school and just like wants to lash into him. There's a little staircase right next to that room that takes you to the attic. And that's where the hole is, where the toilet is right there. I'm like, of course, this is right here. He's gonna come. There's no way he's not gonna come right underneath this toilet. They don't put this toilet here. They would have put it somewhere else before I can kill him at. And he starts ripping into these dudes, and I just kick the toilet off there, knocks him out. I walk out scot-free. I'm good to go. I really wanted to figure out the other ones. And real quick, to go back to Sapienza, I'd like to find out what the double kill is. Like, what's the situation to get them a double kill? In Sapienza, you be the therapist, you don't show up for the appointment, and him and Francesca are talking in this one room right next to a fireplace. If you're in the attic, you can just throw a propane tank that's sitting very conveniently right next to like the exhauster or whatever you want to call it for the fireplace. Takes out both of them. This one, apparently, I saw one of the challenges. You somehow, I don't know how you get them together because I didn't like fully watch it, but essentially you would take one of the turrets that are on the cars, and like there's a computer attached to what I saw when I was walking past it, and somehow you get them in front of the car, and then you just make it malfunction.
I saw the turret on the car,
and the computer with wires right next to it. You're like, of course.
And I walked over there, and it's like, you don't have a key, and I was like, man, I would have loved to have figured out how to do this one.
Yeah. So if this was my only level that I had, or the only two levels I had that month, I would probably have figured that out sooner or later, because that would be a more fun one. But yeah, I kicked the toilet off, killing him, and then I exited. Pretty straight and simple. This one actually took me very little time. Like the Sapienza took me a little bit longer, but this one I just breezed through this one. I think I did this one in like under 20 minutes. So yeah, we'll talk about what we're gonna do next. But yeah, that's how I finished Marrakesh. How do you guys do?
Yeah, so I go next since I did the same. So I did the masseuse one second. I did not go there. So I was able just to do it. I didn't have anybody give me any issues, and I just ditched my guns because I was like, well, fuck it. This is the last thing I needed. It doesn't matter. So got Frisk, went up there, snapped his neck. He was a dickhead. Moved on. But the first thing was, so I went after the general first, and I'm running around, and I'm just like, Jesus, all these people, and I'm like, fucking, I cannot find a single person, like, alone that I can use to, like, get into this school or do whatever the fuck. As I come around a corner, I see some dude, and they're basically putting up posters for the revolution that's supposed to be happening, that, you know, this whole thing. And they're like, hey, you should go, you can pretend to be one of these guys. We have a meeting with the general here in a little bit, you know, one of those numbers. And so I was like, okay. And so it was like, so I'm like following this one guy, because he goes, I'll go off and put my last poster up, and then when I go back, we can keep going. And I was like, all right, cool. So he walks off, and I'm like following him. Bro, I followed him through this whole goddamn city, and he just never was by himself. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, just go somewhere for a bathroom break or something so I can fucking knock you out. Finally, he makes his way to, like, basically where you start the level, and there's, like, the massive crowd of people, but there's only one woman in this little back room with him, and she's got her back turned to him, and I'm like, all right, well, let's see if this works. Because to your guys' point, there's all these NPCs everywhere, so I just figured that all of them were going to be able to see me do something or something like that. Sure. That's not the case.
They're not looking towards your way. They're not going to notice.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they definitely would have seen me out of even their peripherals, but they do not care. So what I was looking at was, I think if you hold your assassin vision, if you see, like, the outlines of a person... like it looks like they're outlined, then that is somebody who could see you, like an interactable person. But if it's just like these fodder NPC, I could shoot somebody in the head right in front of them, and I don't think it would matter. But so I knock him out, and then I turn around and see the girl, and I'm like, well, I have to drag him to this chest, and you're going to be in the way of that, so now you got to get bonked. So I knock her out, shove her in there, take his clothes, shove him in there, and then run all the way back to those guys. I'm like, they're like, all right, you good? And I was like, yep, I put my poster up. And they're like, sweet, let's go. So then I follow them back all the way through the school, and we, are just walking in like a line, basically. We get in there. The general's like, look, we need this thing to pop off quicker than we expected, so just we're working double time. Everybody's printing out propaganda posters to put everywhere to get these people to rush the consulate so we can shoot them. It'll be a whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. So he starts to walk away, and he walks away with no one. Like, he's just walking away by himself. And I'm like, surely they're not going to make this easy. Like, there's no fucking way. And so I am following him, and then he goes to start walking up a set of stairs, and there's a guard that like walks past us in the hallway, and then it's just me and him on this staircase, and I'm like, no. And I was like, whatever, there's nobody around, so I was like, let's see what happens. Pull out the gun, boom, shoot him. And then he just like falls to the ground there, and I was like, okay, and it's like, nice work, 47, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I start looking at the map, and and then I see the one guy coming back on his patrol, but I'm like, well, I can either wait here on the stairs and kill him and then just leave them both here. I was like, or I can just leave. Like,
yeah.
I was like, okay, fuck it. I guess I'll just leave. So I walk out, and they report him as dead, and there's this whole thing, and everybody loses their mind. But like, no one's suspecting me, and so they're just like, hey, everybody, the general's been dead. He's going to be taken over by, whoever the fuck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, bye. And so I just leave, and then I go do the masseuse thing, and then I leave. It was very short. The longest part was me waiting to get the fucking initial costume in the beginning. Yeah. But other than that, it was super easy.
For me, Spazienza or whatever was much faster.
Sapienza.
Sapienza. Which,
Swascienza.
So Marrakesh for me took for fucking ever. So, like, as soon as I start... Like, I'm walking out, and I hear the whole conversation about the school and so on. So I go upstairs, knock out the old guy, take the key, take his outfit, come back downstairs. The guard's like, nope, can't pass. I'm like, okay, F and A. Just walk to another checkpoint. Guard's, nope, can't pass. I'm like, all right, well, how do I even get to the school? So I'm walking around forever.
Gotta find that one.
I'm walking around forever until I actually make my way to the other side, which is where the activists are going on, like, outside. Okay. So I'm like, I don't want to like get rid of this because I'd really like to do like this one is like you're impersonating the educator or whatever. It's like, it's fine. So I go to the far side where I see the guards. I'm like, I'm just going to knock somebody out here. I'm going to know right where this is. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get this outfit. So knock a guard out, walk right through the front gate, go inside. Like I have the outfit that'll take you pretty much everywhere. And I'm trying to find a cool way to kill the main guy. Can't do it. I change at one point in the big room where there's like a camera and a green screen and other stuff. Christian, to your point, like I'm behind a wall and there's a security guard standing here with a guy and a woman walking around. The security guard is standing with like this little like fake half wall beside him. So I'm standing right there and I see the other two like turn and they're walking back down the way, but they're across the room, clearly in vision. And I just like, boop. Drag him behind, knock him out, change. And that's the other thing. The woman's like, oh, what's that? And she kind of looks my way and starts walking. And I just love that, like, you instantly change clothes. So then, like, everybody is finally like, oh, okay. So she walks around the back, and I was like, oh, unfortunately, you're going to find this person. Bop, knock you out, too. And I was like, well, for good measure, I just don't need my plans messed up. I'm just going to knock out this dude as well. So I knock out the three of them, and I'm looking for fun ways to kill this guy. I can't figure it out. He's walking around, and he walks to the balcony of the room where I just knocked everybody out. And he's standing there. He's just chit-chatting with me because he thinks I'm a security guard. He's looking over the edge. And I was like, I'm going to go strangle him. And I walk over to strangle him. It's like, push. And I was like, oh. Well, like, not my favorite, but better than nothing. So, whoop. And just threw him. And he died. And as everybody's, like, running around freaking out, I just walk down the stairs and walk out. Mm-hmm. Get back to my outfit as the guy, the principal or whatever, go back to the school, head to the school, still can't find my way through any of the gates. I try to create distractions. I've created so many distractions that people are on to me by this point. So I'm like playing this weird like cat and mouse game with like the few people that know what I am. So like I'm like, I have to abandon this. Like clearly the school's not working out for me. So I abandon it, put on a different outfit, go back up to where the dad, where I got that guy to begin with. And I was like, oh, I can climb here. So I climb up on that balcony and then walk across the top, like shimmy across the top forever. Get to an alcove, and it goes, battle axe. And I go, huh.
Hell yeah.
Well, clearly, I'm going to do something with this battle axe. And I'm like, I could throw it, I could make a distraction, and I see the guys training in, like, in the field. And I'm like, man, this would be so cool if I just, like, heave back and throw. This is like, so let's save it. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just save the game.
See what happens.
Let's see what happens.
It's always fun.
So I aim at these guys, I go to launch it, and instead of, like, doing this number, he just goes, and it just hits the top of the balcony I'm on and just flips down and lands, and two guards are like, oh, what the hell is that? And I'm like, well, that was stupid. So I just reloaded, didn't touch the battle axe, but the two guards that were there, I shimmied back and grabbed onto a pipe and just slid down the pipe, and I got one guy to walk to me, knocked him out. Now I'm in a security guard outfit like the army, and now I'm good. So now I'm just freely walking around. What I finally did, though, to kill him was when I got to the top room. He has his office, and you can do a lot of things in his office. You can poison him. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. But there's a guard outside of his office that'll spot you. Flicked a coin. He ran over to get the coin. I walked straight to the office. No big deal. And when I got in there, it said, pick up saber. And now I'm like, hell yeah. So I have a saber in my hand, and I jump out of the window, and I'm just standing.
You bastard!
I'm just standing on the outside of the window, like on the ledge. And here's where, here's like the one mistake I found with this game, but like where video game and the sim doesn't quite meet, is I turn around at one point. Like, imagine I'm just against the wall, like with a saber in hand, just standing outside this guy's window, and I just like peek over at one point. And I realize I'm above the courtyard where all those guys are working out. And one guy goes, hey, get down from there. Hey.
Oh.
Hey, get down. Hey. And then he just walks about his business. And that's all that it was. And I was like, dope. So I stayed there, and the guy comes in the room. He looks around for a minute. As he turns around, I just quickly hop in. I walk over, and you just run right through him with that saber. And I was like, that's a cool kill. I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And the best part is it happened in that room, and nobody was alerted at first. And his security guard like peeks his head in and like starts walking to the window where he's dead. And I was able just to walk right out. No big deal. And that was that. But it was a comedy of errors of me just like trying. I wanted to do something cool, couldn't do it. And because of it, alerted everybody, had to abandon plans, and it was fine. It took me way too long, but I was upset about that one.
Yeah, they can get you. You can get like if you don't go like a right path or like follow certain like proper story missions, like you'll just get to a point like, all right, well I got the key, and I just still can't get into the school. Still can't get in there. But yeah, I was doing that for a while. I try to hit the checkpoints to get into the school, but there's two dudes there, like fully decked out in military gear.
Yeah.
Finally found that one spot to where one of those dudes would go back a little bit and then come back after a hot second. I'm like, oh, okay, I can at least get one guy here.
I found that area, and I'll tell you my problem, and I don't know if it's a timing thing or what. The fountain, in the fountain, every single time I had a bystander walking over.
Somebody else walking around?
Would stand between me and the first dude and the one that walked back, and I could never kill him. And I was like, I waited so long there. I think that was when I finally was just like, I'm abandoning this. Like, I can't figure out how to get these guys. I threw a coin, and like, I wanted the main like bystander to go get it, but it said the security guard went and got it. So now the bystander's watching me. So like, I can't go kill the security guard. And I was like, fuck.
That was me, the detective, the entire time in Sapienza. Like, come on, why is somebody's like there? Or somebody walks past. I'm like, stop, just stop.
Yep.
Yeah, overall, liked them a lot. The levels kind of definitely opened up a lot more, give you a lot more options. Like the fact that you're in Sapienza and like there's a morgue there, there's a church you can go to. Like it's just so much more than just the mansion. And I love that kind of idea. So I'm super excited knowing like what the next ones are going to be. Being able to like, okay, well we're going to probably be able to do some like crazy ass shit in here, like on bigger levels and stuff. So.
Every level has felt incredible and has looked incredible, and like I've never been
level design.
I've never been to an area like Marrakesh, but anything I've ever seen in a movie looks like this, and you know I've what I picture in Italy, like this is what this area looks like. Like they've done a great job. Also, the only negative I'll actually give this game, I'll actually take points away from it, is its menu. Its menu is trash. Like the start menu
can be very like not only cluttered, but like there's just a lot in there. That
if you back out too far, try to figure out where to go to continue our story is insane. But
all that's in there, yeah.
But what I was going to give them to their credit was they have like all the missions like in line, and they put a lot of work into it. Like there's a ton of levels.
Oh yeah, especially a lot of bonus stuff because little variations of all those levels too. To where it's like, okay, you've been sitting here for a month, we're not having nothing new this month, so you get a new variation of Marrakesh with a fucking new victim or whatever you want to call it. New hit. So yeah, after we finish Marrakesh, we get a cutscene. This is 2 days later in New York. Two old white dudes are walking up with some keys, talking about something that happened, but then you kind of realize they're kind of catching on to what's going on as far as not necessarily like us and what we're doing, but like there's a lot of things happening with us and the mysterious guy. So you find out that they mentioned about two keys. So like, they're going up into the door that the dude in the car was talking about. And so they open it up, and as they're opening it up, the guy's like, yep. He's like, also, your compatriot also got their key stolen too. And as it's opening up, he's like, just so you know, it's all out there now. He's like, you better go dig yourself a trench, a real deep one too. As he walks off, and it kind of slowly zooms out, and that's when like, they have everything. So you see that safe, because the guy was like, how much did they take? He's like, it's not money. He's like, they got all the information. They got all of our information. So he's like, now we're all fucked. But you can kind of see as they pull back the safe, they kind of just like shit thrown around there. So definitely someone got into it, which is obviously going to be the mystery man. But what they mentioned though is they noticed shit going down. They said Providence is under attack. So that's why I asked you, Christian, if like, that one lady who's a double agent was working for Providence. So all the info on the Providence people are apparently out there with the mystery guy. I don't know if he's going to leak them to us or what we're going to do, but we'll see. I do want to also give a little bit of a nod. The facial animations on these cutscenes are fucking great. They're phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Like it's like almost like when you play Blizzard games and you get to see like a really cool cutscene, how like nicely animated like all the facial features are and stuff. Like that's the level of like just masterpiece of CG cutscenes.
My guess is that IO was using. It must have, because Square was the one who published this initially. I bet you they were using some of Square's facial tech.
Oh sure, I bet
at first. I think.
Yeah. So, I forgot to pull this up, so I'm going to pull it up real quick. But I think we can all agree that we're probably going to finish it off this next time, doing the last 3 missions.
Yep.
Let's see.
I can do that.
But yes, as far as next episodes, we will be doing Bangkok, Colorado, and Hokkaido.
Is that finishing it off?
That's finishing season 1 of Hitman. So we'll finish that off. We'll call it there because that would be the original release of Hitman 1. And yeah, it's been fun. I'm enjoying this. I'm glad that Steph mentioned it to us, and we actually got to try it out because I remember trying out, I can't remember which mission I tried out, but it was like a tutorial or a demo version of the game, and I wasn't feeling it, and I was getting impatient. I thought it had all to do with stealth, but you can have a lot of fun with this game, and I'm really glad I'm enjoying it. So
it's a good game. It is so far. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, other than that, that's what we got.
All right. And Christian, I mean, it's a week away. You know what we're playing next? Oh, you don't tell us.
I do. Do you want me to? I can put it here if we want.
No,
or I can wait till
I
next
like the
week.
suspense.
Well,
I like the moment.
Me too. I just wanted to see. Did we know?
I do. I
Okay.
do know.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Part 3 of Hitman. You know, if that game is still on sale, I would say pick it up. It's definitely an ad just for fun for a few bucks. I don't know if it still is, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
But thanks for hanging out with us. We will finish it up next week, and Christian will bring us his title. It's been a while. And yeah, thanks, everybody. With that, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it.
I should tell you, the trail went dead after Romania. Our team found no records of any kind. No name. Nothing.
I think they called me 47.
That's not a name.
So make it one.
All right.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.
This is your gift and your curse. Touching lives only by ending them.